पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे Paramanandamaadhavam. By the infinite grace of the Lord Krishna and Sri Ramakrishna, we are continuing to study the great scripture of the Bhagavadgita. So we are in the third chapter. We have completed the all-important shloka. Yajnarthat karmanaha anyatra लोकोयम कर्म बंधनः तदर्थम कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्त संग समाचर. So we have learnt the concept of the yajna. Yajna is basically yajnartha. Yajna is basically the God, the Lord Ishvara, the Paramatman itself. Every action that is done for the sake of the God is it leads to liberation or the moksha. Those actions which are not done for the sake of the Lord, as the worship of the Lord, will lead to bondage. They become the causes of the bondage. So the instruction is given to Arjuna by Lord Krishna in the second line itself. Tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sanga samachara. Therefore, you do work for the sake of the Lord without any attachment to worldly things. And this is how one should perform the work, and this is the crux or the summum bonum of the karma yoga. So now Krishna proceeds to give two reasons for why one should do karma yoga. One has got the universal dimension, another is the individual dimension. First he takes up the individual dimension of karma yoga. According to Krishna, this yajna or the selfless action is the means of multiplication of the creation done by the Lord in the beginning of creation. What is creation according to Indian context or the Indian tradition? There is absolutely no such creation as it is. It is projection from the previous cycle of the birth and the death. That is what is meant by creation or the srushti. So what was potential became dynamic, what was unmanifested became manifested. That is what creation means in the Puranas and the Upanishads. So there was word even before the creation. The word was in the potential form. Now that is in the seed form. The seed form took the manifested itself. Unmanifested form manifested itself. That is called the creation. So the yajna concept or the tools of the yajna were also in the potential form. So all the srushtis, the people, the animals, the plants, every creatures, along with their karmas and also the very yajna itself, that is action, selfless action, that also was in the potential form. and that was created in the beginning of the cycle called creation or the Srishti. That is spelled out in the shloka number 10 when Krishna says, Sahayajnaha praja sruštva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadhvam yeshavaha tu ishtakamadaka. Prajapati created this world. Who is Prajapati? Prajanam patihi Prajapatihi. The Lord of the creatures or the creator of the creatures. The Prajapati is a name given to the Lord Ishvara, the creator, the supreme Lord. So here we have the concept of the Saguna Brahma. Who is Saguna Brahma? Whether he is different from the Nirguna Brahma. So our tradition, Advaita tradition, doesn't make any difference in the reality or the God. When we see the God in the prism of the world, he is the creator. So when we cannot get rid of the idea of the world, then we should have an Ishvara, the ruler of the Ishvara, the ruler of this world. The ruler of this world himself is the creator of this world also. He is called Ishvara or the Saguna Brahman. The Saguna Brahman is the creator of this whole universe. He is the one who created all the living beings. Prajaha Sruštva. Along with his Praja, he created the means of multiplication of the creatures also. The Ishvara could create only few people, few creatures. The multiplication, the responsibility of multiplication depends upon the creatures themselves. So he provided the means of multiplication, means of sustenance, means of evolution in the modern language. Of course, this evolution is a modern idea. The genesis of this theory of evolution you can find in our scriptures itself. Here the means of evolution or the means of multiplication, that is what is called Yajna here. So the Lord created two things, the created ones, the creatures, along with the means of the multiplication, the tools of the multiplication. The tools of the multiplication is nothing but the Yajna. So we will talk about it later. First we will complete this shloka. And he said to the creatures, Anena prasavishyadhvam. You ought to multiply yourself now. I am not going to create anything further. You have to multiply yourself through the Yajna. So you have to take the help of the Yajna, you have to have the tool as the Yajna, and you have to multiply yourself. Anena prasavishyadhvam. And whatever you want, whatever you covet, whatever you desire, you can get from this. Anena prasavishyadhvam yeshavaha. To you, this Yajna will become dhuk. Dhuk it also has two meanings, two interpretations by the commentators and the translators. Some translators translate it as the cow, Kamadhenu, or the cow, wish yielding cow, or just the yielder of what? Kama, the desires. Yielder of Kama. The Kama is specified or the qualified by the word Ishta, whatever you desire. If you want wealth, you can get it from the Yajna. If you want progeny, children, you can get from the Yajna. If you want wife, you can get from the Yajna. If you want prosperity, you can get from the Yajna. If you want heaven, you can get from the Yajna. So whatever one wants is called the Ishta. What one wants, Kama one wants. Here Kama doesn't mean desire. That which is desired, that the object of desire is what is called here Kama. So the object of desire you wish for, the yajna will yield you in plenty. That is why you can make use of your yajna as the provider of every desired object you wish for. This is the meaning of the shloka. But it has got several shades of meaning, several interpretation we find. The first question before is, what is yajna here? So earlier yajna means the work done for the Lord. In the previous shloka we have read yajnartham karmanaha anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Whatever work we do for the sake of the Lord is the yajna in the shloka number 9. Then what is yajna which is created along with the creatures? Here yajna means universal law, universal dharma. That is what is called yajna here. So unless you follow the rules, some rules, unless you conduct yourself according to the rules of the scriptures or rules of the dharma, one cannot have prosperity in this world. One cannot expect to live happily in this world. That dharma or the proper conduct and selfless attitude is what is called the yajna here. So the yajna takes the more mundane form or the physical form in the form of the fire yajna that people used to do in ancient times, throwing ahuti or the offerings in the fire. That is only a representative of yajna, is not the meaning of the only physical yajna that we do homa etc. Yajna means whole life dedicated to the Lord, whole life dedicated to the ideas, living in tune with the universal law, dedicated to the Lord, living under some kind of restrictions or the conditions and acting ourselves in according to dharma prescribed by the scriptures or the Veda. That is the mode of life, that mode of life, the lifestyle prescribed is called the yajna. That mode of life, that dharma is normally prescribed by the Veda. So Vedas are meant for teaching the dharma or the yajna. That yajna is what is specified here. So we will find a more universal dimension, more liberal dimension or more Catholic aspect of the yajna here. And also here what is specified is individual dharma. Every man or every woman has got its own duty to perform in this world, and he should perform. There are two kinds of dharma. One is the individual dharma, another is the samashti dharma. So if he wants to live happily, he should follow some rules, he should conduct himself. That is individual dharma. It is called the Veshti dharma. And also he should live in tune with the surroundings he is living in. That is society, his family, the country, the whole world. That is called the samashti dharma. So each person has got its own, his two kinds of dharma, Veshti dharma and samashti dharma. In the case of Arjuna also, he has to perform the duty as a warrior. That is his individual dharma as well as the samashti dharma. If by doing this work, he will be an illumined person. He will act according to his duty, according to his status in society. In the same time, he will be contributing to the society. So individual dharma should be subordinate to the collective dharma. Otherwise it cannot be called individual dharma. I will act against the society. I will not contribute to the society. I will always act according to my whims and my own prejudices, and that it cannot be called the individual dharma at all. And what is collective dharma is, collective dharma is for the welfare of the whole society, and it is conducive to, it should cater to the individual dharma also. So the collective dharma should help one to live in an individual dharma according to individual dharma, and individual dharma should not only take care of an individual but also cater to the welfare of the society. So the individual dharma should supplement to the collective dharma, and collective dharma should supplement to the individual dharma. In other words, individual dharma or individual kind of yajna should be complementary to samashti yajna, and samashti yajna should be complementary to this individual or the veshti yajna. So we can derive so many ideas from this single shloka. That is what is created by the Lord, and the way of living. Not only Lord created the creatures, He instructed them the way of living in tune with the society, and tune with the surrounding, tune with His ambience, and tune with His fellow beings and the creatures, the atmosphere, and also the environment with other creatures. And that is what is to be followed in toto if we want to live a good life. And that is what is called the yajna here. So Lord created that also. So this is the meaning of yajna here. Not only Krishna, Lord, the Supreme Lord called Prajapati here, created the being, He instructed them, He introduced to them the way of living and a wonderful individual life in tune with the collective welfare of the whole world. This is the meaning of Sahayajnaha Praja Sruštva. So what is the utility? There are two utilities specified by Prajapati himself. O creatures, you are all my children. Prajapati is the father of all the creatures. He is the father. He is the father figure, one who has created every one of them, one of us, all the creatures, all the plants, everything. Anena, anena means through the yajna, through this way of living, through this way of living of mutual cooperation. Our individual life is for the welfare of the whole world, and welfare of the whole world is nothing but my own individual prosperity, and there should not be any contradiction between individual welfare and also the collective prosperity or the collective welfare. And that kind of living on the part of an individual in contributing to the society is what is called yajna. Through that you have to multiply yourself. It is not that the physical multiplication. Physical multiplication is possible by physical means, by biological means. Here the multiplication is one should create a very stable society, a wonderful society, a welfare society, what we call in the Puranic times as the Rama Rajya. So that is the real multiplication here. Anena prasavishadhvam. You should multiply yourself in this manner by following the two aspects of yajna. One is the veshti yajna or the veshti dharma, another is the samashti dharma. And whatever you desire, so desires are fourfold according to our scriptures or the tradition. They are also called artha. Whatever we desired for, the object of desire is called the artha. Purushartha, you might have heard this name, this term. The desired objects for a person, a human being, is called a purushartha. There are four kinds of purushartha. There are three categories in these purusharthas. One is the material values. They can be translated as values. Values are the goals of life. The values are the guiding lights of one's life. Why I am living? What is my goal? For what I have to live? What is the purpose of life? These values are the purpose of life. I should live by the values and I should attain the values. I am guiding lights of the life is what are called the values. So values are fourfold in nature. First one is the material values. We need material prosperity. We want to have pleasure. We want to have happiness. That happiness we think we can derive from the senses. Senses go after the objects and derive happiness or the enjoyment. And that is the most basal, that is the most primary idea of the enjoyment. So, two values are prescribed, two purusharthas are prescribed. One is the artha, another is the kama. Kama means desires. If you want to fulfill the desires, you have to have money, artha. So, artha and kamas are complementary to each other. If you want to fulfill desires, what you need is the material wealth. So, these are called the material values. But you have to obtain these material values by ethical means, by following some ethical values in life. Ethical way of life is of paramount importance in life, even to have pleasures of the life. So, the dharma is the medium. Dharma is not a value per se. Dharma is the medium through which we have to try to get the material values. That's why dharma is called the ethical value. Dharma is only means, not the end. But what about the another value? We are not satisfied with the material objects and the pleasures we get out of the material objects, and that's why we transcend that stage and we go for the spiritual emancipation or the spiritual liberation. And that spiritual liberation is the highest goal of human life, and that is called the moksha or the final liberation. That final liberation is the highest goal a man can aspire for, and for that we have to follow once again the dharma. Ethical culture or the ethical value is the medium to acquire the material values as well as the medium to acquire the spiritual value, that is moksha also. So, that is why Krishna says here, whatever you desire, if you want material values, material pleasures, if you want wealth and desires, a means of desires, fulfilling our desires, dharma or the yajna will give you that. Yajna will become the cow that yields the milk of desired objects, whatever you desire. Ishta kama, this is a very important word. Kama means just desired objects. Whatever I desire, whatever I covet, whatever I wish. So that is represented, that is denoted by the word Ishta kama. Kama here is desired object. Dhuk means yielder. As cow yields plentiful of milk, this yajna will yield plentiful of the desired objects, whatever you desire or whatever you covet. So this is the meaning of the shloka number 10. Then what happens if you follow yajna? So now we have to go back to the primary sense of the yajna. I told you the primary sense of yajna is the physical yajna, when we light a fire and we offer offerings meant for the gods. And gods are supposed to get the offering through the medium of the fire. This is what the yajna or homa, havana we call them, and this is a very, very ancient custom. In fact, the murti puja, the idol worship, was not in practice in the early Vedic times at all. We don't find the references of idol worship or the image worship in the Vedas at all. That is what we find in the Puranic time. In Puranic times or the Gupta's period, what is called the golden period of Indian history, we find the practice of image worship or the temples. And there were no temples, there were no images in the ancient Vedic period. And people used to worship, offer gift to the offerings to the god through the yajna and yajna alone. And that was the system. So if we follow that yajna, yajna is only a symbol. As I already told you repeatedly, in the concept of yajna is to contribute to the society. In the yajna we contribute to the devatas, because devatas are the forces of nature that give us rain, that give us sunshine, etc. Sun is the representative of a natural force. He is called the sun god. Rain also is a god, he is a Varuna. And also we have Agni himself is a Devata. So the natural forces are essential for us to keep our life intact and happy and healthy. So we have to give something in return. That is the idea. Not only we should enjoy the benefits we derive from the gods or the natural forces, we have to return to them something. Whatever they give us, we have to pay them back. That is the idea involved in the yajna. And Krishna specifies that in the next sloka, Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreyam param avapsyatha. Here bhavaya word repeats almost 3 times. What is meant by bhavaya? So there are translators gives 2-3 meanings. One is bhavaya means cherish, and you make me happy and I will make you happy. What we should do as a member of society, we should do everything, all our duties should be in connaissance, in tune with welfare of the society, welfare of the other people. So when society is in good condition and all the members of the society are happy, they are well fed, well educated, living in prosperity, naturally as an individual member, I am also will be prosperous, I am also will be happy, I am also will be in a very good condition of life. And this is the idea behind the yajna. But in the more physical form of the yajna, in the more concrete of the form of the yajna, and people try to propitiate the devatas. Because Indra gives me rain, I shall also propitiate Indra through the gift I am offering in the yajna. That is what is called bhavaya. So cherishing the gods or nourishing the gods, because it is a belief in ancient Aryans or the ancient Vedic people, devatas do not have separate food at all. Their food is nothing but the offering given in the yajna by the human beings. If the people do not give offering in the yajna, the devatas will be deprived of the nourishment at all. If the devatas are deprived of the nourishment and they will not be able to give us or the bestow us rain, sunshine, etc., water or the fire, that will not be beneficial to us. This is the idea. So we nourish them, we cherish them, we propitiate them by offering in the yajna, by our offering in the yajna. That is the mean. That is why Devan Bhavayata. So what is the mode of the yajna? You propitiate the gods. This is all the instruction of the Prajapati. We should understand. The Prajapati's instruction continue to this sloka also. You propitiate the gods by your gift you offer in the yajna, and in turn the devatas will nourish you by bestowing the rain or bestowing the sunshine that are very essential for our living. Te deva bhavayantu vaha. Vaha means to you. Let them nourish you. Let them make your life easy by giving the sunshine, by bestowing you wealth, bestowing you wife, bestowing you happy family, bestowing you health, etc., etc. So this is the meaning of Devan Bhavayata Anena, means through the Yajna. The medium of propitiating the gods is through the Yajna. The medium through which we try to propitiate or nourish or cherish the god is through the Yajna. Devan Bhavayata Anena, Anena means through Yajna. Te Deva, in turn, by bestowing you prosperity, bestowing the health, bestowing the rain, bestowing the food, let them propitiate you, let them please you, let them nourish you or cherish you. So, this is a mutual cooperation. You help them in sustaining by giving them food, they will help you in making your life a livable and also very happy. Parasparam bhavayantaha. This is the principle on which a society should be created and society should sustain itself. Society cannot survive without its individual members contributing to the society. If the contribution of the members diminish in any organization or in any institution for that matter, we find the organization or institution will get degraded. Ultimately, it will get destroyed. You will find the ancient civilization. You find in the Egyptian civilization, one of the most prosperous civilization in the world, and Roman civilization. In Europe, you have many kingdoms, including the English. The recent one is the English Empire or the British Empire. What happened to them? They could survive only for few hundred years. Perhaps Egyptian civilization survived for 500 or 600 years, I do not know. Greek civilization survived for around 500 years. Like that, there was a principle on which the civilization was existing. When that principle was broken down and people no longer practice that principle, the civilization naturally was broken down, destroyed. And these are all material principles. For example, Roman civilization was based on military might, and British civilization was entirely on the edifice of commercial or the economic consideration. And if, of course, the Egyptian civilization also was based upon the mighty of the army, mighty of the king, etc. When the king became weak, when the military became weak, the civilization collapsed. So in the case of the British civilization, when the economics conditions, economic consideration, economic power of the British Empire was diminished in due course, the empire got dissipated. But our Indian civilization continues to live and thriving. That is the greatness of Indian civilization. Indian civilization didn't survive on mighty military might, not even on economic strength. It lived on, it is still living on the spiritual principles and spiritual sustenance. What is spiritual is something eternal. The spirituality is nothing but the eternal values of life. So, our religion is called Sanatana Dharma, not because we do not have any founder, we cannot find any the date of antiquity in which it was born. Our religion is called Sanatana Dharma because it has the bedrock of the Sanatana values, the eternal values for its sustenance. That is why the Indian civilization has still survived. So unless we contribute something to the society, society will not survive. So the mutual cooperation, So in the terms of yajna, we have to propitiate, we have to please the devatas by offering gift to them, and devatas should in turn bestow us whatever needed for the livelihood of the human beings. This is the idea. Parasparam bhavayantaha. And what is the ultimate goal? So this is a case of karma yoga. I am not living only for myself. I am not nourishing only my body. I am not living an egoistic life. I am living for my family. I am living for my society. I am living for my country. I am living for the whole world. So in one of the beautiful Subhashitas, we read, Udara charitanantu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. For one who is large-hearted, the whole universe, the whole world itself is a family. That is the ideal of karma yoga. I live for the society, I live for my country, I live for the whole world. I identified with the whole existence. So when I live for the family, what happens? I shed ego and I identify with my family. This is how we have to expand our consciousness, expand our individuality. The individuality is no longer confined to my body. The individuality has now expanded to the family. No longer I confine my individuality to family, I expand to the society I am living in. So I identify with my society, I am society, I live for society, I contribute for society. So like this, the whole universe, the whole existence will become my family, and I identified with that, and that is the spiritual liberation. Here param shreyaha means the ultimate goodness, ultimate beatitude. A highest good is what is called param shreyaha here, that stands for the spiritual liberation. So Krishna assures us, even doing for good for the country, good for the society, good for the whole world, we can get that knowledge through which we can be liberated forever. Only through work we cannot get liberation, because work means there is a sense of duality. I am different, he is different, I am working for him, I am working for someone else, I am different. So this kind of the idea of duality you will find in the work. But by continuously doing selfless work with purity of heart and purity of mind developed, and through that purity of mind, one will be able to grasp the true knowledge of Advaita or the non-duality, where you will find oneness of existence, oneness of the whole world, oneness of the universe. It is Paramatman which has become the whole universe, and I identified with that Paramatman. This is the mode of attaining the highest good of spiritual liberation, spiritual emancipation through karma yoga according to Krishna. So Krishna continues to explain this mode of worship of God. He says, Ishtan bhogan hivo devaha dasyante yajna bhavitaha tairdattan apradayebhyo yo bhunkte stena yeva saha. We should never live a life of egoism. We should never live a life of selfishness. If we live, what will become of us? Devaha, devas, they are propitiated by yajna. How they are propitiated, how they are sustained, how their very food they get from the yajna, all these things I have explained. So they are propitiated, or they are cherished, or they nourished by the yajna. the Yajna Bhavitaha, this word indicates that. Yajna Bhavitaha Devaha, they will in turn will give you bhogas, all enjoyments. Enjoyments you wish for, Ishtan Bhoga. Ishtan Bhogas means whatever you covet, whatever you desire, that luxuries, that bhogas. You should not take bhogas in the negative sense at all. It has no negative annotation. Whatever we need for our comfortable living, good food, good sleep, good mind, healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy environment and friends, it is all bhogas. In fact, the Yoga Shastra says, whatever we enjoy through the senses, it is bhoga. So, bhoga should not be considered something vulgar or the evil. Bhoga means our contact with the senses, and whatever we get, pleasure or happiness, out of our contact with the senses is called the bhoga. So, Ishtan Bhoga means I want a particular kind of bhoga. I do not want Mysore pak. I want only jalebi. That is Ishta for me, that's all. So, whatever you wish, whatever you covet, whatever you desire, the Devas will give you, because the Devas become very happy by your Yajna. Tair Dattan, whatever they have given to you, you have to pay them back. Suppose they have given you wealth, you have to spend a part of money you have earned in Yajna, in giving them back by performing Yajna. It is most primal concept of Yajna. I am repeating again and again. Doing physical Yajna or the sacrifice, it is more basal concept of Yajna. But the very higher concept, the higher concept of Yajna is to contribute to the society, contribute to the nation, contribute to the whole world. You have a great talent, you contribute somehow to the society. You also live happily and you make others live happily. And you have lot of money you have earned, contribute to the society. And you be happy and make others also happy. And this is the idea. If you don't do it, if you don't spend a part of that whatever gods have given to you, taihi dattan apradaya ebhyaha. What is meant by giving back to the gods? So, as a primal idea, very basic idea is to perform yajna on daily basis, on regular basis and occasionally, and giving them the offerings. That is the primal idea or the basic idea. But the higher idea is to give back to the society, pay back to the society, as the great people, the Mahatmas have done. Swami Vivekananda dedicated his whole life for the society, for the country and the humankind, as Sri Ramakrishna, as Sri Ramana Maharshi and Aurobindo and other Mahatmas. And Jesus Christ shed tears for the humankind, and he shed his blood also. Whole life was for the sake of the welfare of the humankind or the humanity. They lived for others, not for themselves. That's why we call them Mahatmas. If we live for ourselves, then we are Alpatmas. We are little fellows, little beings. If we live for others, then we will be called the Mahatmas. As Sri Swami Vivekananda beautifully writes to Mysore Maharaja, Chamaraja Vadiyar, those who live for others, those who do not live for others are dead than alive. We are dead than alive because we always cater to ourselves. My body, how to sustain my body, how to you eat, for whose sake? My body. I enjoy, for whose sake? My sake. Everything, mine. And that is the problem with us. If we can come out of that egocentric life and contribute to the society and do service for others, seeing God in them, and that is what is called karma yoga. So Krishna says, one who doesn't give back to the devatas in yajna, and one who eats only for himself, one who enjoys only for himself, tair dattan apradaya ebhyaha yo bhunkte, he is equal to a thief, because thief doesn't work hard at all to earn some money. He goes and steals someone's property, someone's money. So that part which belongs to the God, that part of wealth which belongs to the society also we enjoy. That is what the most corrupt people do. Say they take bribes, they indulge in all kinds of corruption, and they evade taxes. What does it mean? That part of the money is meant for the society, government. It should go to government, and government in turn should spend it for the welfare of the society. If we evade the taxes, whatever money meant for society, we are using for our own sustenance, our own prosperity. That means we are thieves. That is why we go to jail. If we evade the taxes, we are considered as the criminals. In the same way, the selfish attitude is nothing but the attitude of a thief. He is the thief himself, Krishna says. Tena eva saha. He should be considered as the thief itself. But in contrast, Yajna Shishtasinaha Santaha Muchyante Sarva Kilbishaihi Bhunjate te Agam Papa Ye Pachanti Atma Karanat. So there is a beautiful concept. It is not Krishna's original concept. It is the concept of the yajna, or the concept of the sacrifice, prevalent from the very ancient times in India. What is that? You have to do yajna, and you have to feed the Rukutviks, Brahmins, poor people, and everyone who has witnessed the yajna. Then only you should take the food. So whatever remains after spending in yajna, that only you are liable or you are qualified to enjoy. So if you in normal circumstance, in ordinary circumstance, what an yajamana does, he does not go, first pangat itself he will not go and sit and eat. What he will do? If you invite you, suppose he has invited sadhus from Ramakrishna Math, 100 people he has invited, first all their food he will feed them first. He will make them happy. They will be very contented. Then they will give some gifts and make them leave. They all leave very happily, contented. Afterwards, whatever remaining, if at all food is remained or not, if there is no food, he should be ready to go hungry also. If there is no food, there will be no food. No, he should take only water, that's all. That is our Indian tradition. So whatever remaining after having spent for others, after making them happy, that is called Yajna Shishta. So a person of high caliber who is practicing karma yoga is required to enjoy only that much of enjoyment which is left for him after making others happy and contented. This is called Yajna Shishta. Yajna Shishta is also called Amruta, that is equal to Amruta. Amruta means nectar. What is the speciality of Amruta? This Amruta will get us liberation. Amruta means it doesn't just allows us to go to heaven and enjoy the luxuries. Amruta means it will make us immortal, because the way of living, of selfless living, the living for others, enjoying only that part left for me after giving up, after allowing others to enjoy, and only living by that, that will make us one immortal. And that food which is left after giving to others is called Yajna Shishta, what has remained after Yajna, and that Yajna Shishta in Indian tradition it is called Amruta. So one who eats that Amruta is called Yajna Shishta Shinaha, and they are called Santaha, they are very good people. They are saints really. Only saints live such kind of life. They don't live for themselves at all. They don't care for their comforts. They don't care for their luxuries. They don't care for even for the maintenance of the body. All their life they live for others. You will find best example in the life of Sharada Devi, in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, and life of the Swami Vivekananda and direct disciples also. And such a person, Saruva Kilbishaihi Muchyante, such person will be free from all kinds of blemishes. Because life, you cannot escape from defects and the blemishes. And you will do some kind of mistakes here and there, and Shastras prescribed some kind of punishment, and also they are all defects. You cannot avoid the defects. But if we live for others, if we work for others, if we give up our selfish attitude, all actions, even with defects, if we go on doing for the sake of society, for the sake of family, for the sake of country, for the sake of whole world at large, and all the defects will be remedied. He will be free from all kinds of defects. But in turn, bhunjate tu agam papa ye pachanti atmakaranat. Krishna gives the example of eating and cooking. So, in house, mother cooks not for herself. I do not know about the modern house. Maybe the lady cooks for herself, not even for husband. I do not know. At least the house I lived for many years, my mother used to cook for me, my father, my brother, everyone in the family. And I have seen myself, my mother would give the best to the others. If she has done the best dish, a very good dish, she would first feed them to children, feed them to husband. If at all remains only this much, and she will partake or she will take. If it doesn't remain, she will go without that. Only rice she will take, a little bit rasam she will take, that's all. That was the attitude of an Indian mother. That should be the attitude of Indian mother. Not only the attitude of an Indian mother, it should be the attitude of everyone who wants to practice karma yoga. So, ye pachanti atma karanat. This food is only for my sake, for my own body. I do not contribute to the society. I enjoy everything for my sake. This is the idea of the Western culture, not Indian culture. When you go to the Western country, they say everything is self-centered. I want for myself, I want for my family. Even within family, they quarrel each other. It is for my money, it is my account, it is your account. And you have earned this much money, and I have earned that much money. Always self-centeredness, individualistic. So, Indian tradition is completely against this individualism, egocentric attitude. My life is for others. I am here, I am living my life, whole life to serve others. That is the attitude of an Indian mother, an Indian father, an Indian person. Krishna says, ye pachanti atma karana, for his own sake he cooks. And what he is eating? He is not eating the food at all, he is eating the sin itself. A very strong words. The rare occasion you will find Krishna is using very strong word. That kind of selfish person, egoistic person, self-centered person, he is not eating or relishing or enjoying the pleasures or eating the food. He is enjoying the papa. Agham bhunjante, agam bhunjate. He is not eating food at all. He is eating only papa, sin. Because he himself is papa. Krishna uses two papas here. Papaha means that denote the person itself, a degraded person, a sinful person, an evil person who is acting against the universal law of the Yajna or Dharma. I told you repeatedly, there is absolutely no difference between Dharma and the Yajna. If you know what is Dharma, you know what is Yajna. If you know what is Yajna, you know what is Dharma. So one who goes against this universal principle of Yajna, one who lives an egocentric life, one who eats for his own sake, one who enjoys for his own sake, one who earns money for his own sake, he is such a degraded person. Papaha, Krishna clearly says, such degraded persons, vile persons, they are not eating food which they have cooked, they are eating agham bhunjate. Agham also means papa. Agham also means sin. Then this is the individual dimension of the Yajna Krishna is speaking so far. We have to understand. I told you in the beginning of this class itself, Krishna gives detailed explanation why one should follow the Yajna concept. This is the individual aspect, an individual life in connaissance, in tune with the social life. The social life should expand itself into the life in which one identified with the whole universe. One who identified with every existent creature, and that is what is moksha, that is what is liberation. This karma yoga, if we go on performing with the attitude, will lead to sattva shuddhi, the purity of mind. You find this example in the lives of great men. If you read Ramakrishna Leela Prasanga, what was the attitude of Chandramani Devi before the birth of Sri Ramakrishna? Chandramani Devi, he would take food only at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. First, he would feed his Ishtadevata, Raghurama. Rama's puja has to be over first. Rama has to be given food, that Naivedya has to be given, offering has to be given. Then whole family has to be fed. Chandramani would not take even one morsel of food without feeding her family. That would take around 1 o'clock or so. Then whatever remained in her house, she would go and distribute to the neighbors. She would go and ask the neighbors whether their food is over, whether they have sufficient food or not. If there is anything lacking in their food, anybody has gone empty, without food, he would inquire. And he would also expect somebody to come and eat. The guests also he would expect. We read in the Leela Prasanga, Brahma himself comes once on a hamsa, on the swan, and Chandramani Devi could not recognize him at all. And that deity, Brahma, that face had become full of red because of the sun's heat. Oh, your face is looking very red, you are very tired. You might have come from the long distance. Oh Deva, please come have some food. I have cold rice in our house. not hot rice. Hot rice is good for, not good for the heat of the sun. I have cold rice, please come and eat. That is Indian tradition. That is Karma Yoga. A great man later, with a few days, a great man, Yugavatara Sri Ramakrishna was born in that great lady of Sharada Mani Devi. This is the kind of Karma Yoga Bhagavad-gita teaches us to follow in this modern age. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.